Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. No fewer than 28 travelers have been reportedly abducted by unknown gunmen along the Ado-Akura Road in Ondo State. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the travelers were abducted from two commercial buses on Tuesday while navigating through the bad portions of the road. The State Police Command is, however, yet to confirm the incident. The news is coming a day after governors in the region held a security summit to find solutions to the growing rate of kidnapping and banditry in states across Nigeria's southwest. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has rejected the federal government's plan to set up farm settlements for herdsmen. In a statement released by his spokesperson, Ortom said the move was a gross violation to the Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law 2017 that's in effect in the state. Now, he said the federal government is planning to establish settlements in Otupo, Taka and Ukum local government areas of Benue, despite the opposition of his administration. Meanwhile, the federal government says it has begun establishing settlements for herdsmen across the nation to address the clashes between farmers and cattle rearers. Under the new plan, cattle herders are expected to be registered with cooperatives for the purpose of the ranching scheme. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) has pledged to protect all 250 cattle ranches to be established by the federal government. Commandant General of the Corps, Abdullahi Ghana, at a ceremony to promote officers of the NSCDC, said the Corps has a duty to protect lives and properties. He promised to augment the efforts of Nigeria's armed forces by checkmating the incessant farmers-herders clashes. Also at the event was presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina, who praised the Corps for its professionalism and dedication to Nigeria.
The government intends to open about 250 cattle ranches all over the country to call these farmers' ranches. We have the right physical security to these ranches. We are working in collaboration with the municipal agriculture to do that. We have a unit of about 5,000 units armed squad that are in charge of the agro units. We have an institute in charge.
The Civil Defense Corps has been taken further than where he met it. And I know that not even the sky will be the limit. That is the kind of Nigeria we desire, where things are done on merit. And I want to please commend the CG and recommend that he continues in that pattern.
Human rights group Amnesty International has decried the alleged use of torture by Nigerian military and police to get information from suspects. In a statement released on Wednesday in commemoration of the International Day in support of victims of torture, the group said there have been regular reports of torture and other ill treatments in military and police custody, despite an existing law against its use. The human rights group is now urging the federal government to declare in strong terms that security personnel will be held accountable for torture and that victims of torture will get justice, including rehabilitation and compensation. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has debunked reports that members of the National Assembly are receiving huge sums as salaries. Speaking when he received members of the Senators Forum in Abuja, Lawan said his monthly pay as a lawmaker is 750,000 naira. He promised that the National Assembly will be transparent to the general public in the conduct of its legislative activities.
I never believed that there is anything called jumbo pay to the National Assembly. The National Assembly members, both the Senate and the House, receive what is their salaries, and I receive 750,000 as my salary. But I need to function as a senator. My office needs to be properly funded. And therefore, I cannot conduct my oversight without some funding. So I believe that Nigerians need to understand this. We need to continue to engage with the Nigerians, and I will also urge you that you continue to explain to Nigerians. They deserve to be explained to. They deserve to know how their resources are utilized, and this will continue to do. This Senate is determined to ensure that we, for example, pass the budget in 3 months, We believe that this is achievable and is doable. All we require is for the executive arm of government to present the appropriation bill in good time, maybe at the end of September or the early week of September, October.
Meanwhile, the Senate President has called for improved trade and diplomatic ties between Nigeria and China. He made the call while hosting Chinese ambassador to Nigeria, Zhou Pingjian, in Abuja, the federal capital.
We have a very good relationship in terms of trade, even though the trade is skewed against Nigeria. While your exports into Nigeria is over $12 billion annually, ours is just about 1.6 billion, largely agricultural raw materials and semi-processed agricultural products. We want to see a situation where we are able to have a more favorable balance of trade. And Nigeria will continue to work with China in the area of technology to improve our agriculture sector. The administration of President Buhari is an administration that is working hard to diversify the Nigerian economy, and particularly in the agricultural and solid mineral sectors. The government is doing a lot. China has been able to achieve self-sufficiency in food, and this is because we have gone through technology. With 1.5 billion people, you still feed yourselves and we export agricultural products. We want to do the same. Nigeria aims at self-sufficiency in food production, but we need to improve agricultural yields per hectare.
In other news, the federal government has held the 9th National Dialogue on Environmental Regulations in Nigeria. The theme of the dialogue is the implementation of national environmental regulations, tools for improving air quality in Nigeria. Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Environment, Ibikun Odutose, was represented by the Director, Environmental Impact Assessment, John Lunge. Lunge described air pollution as a global problem while emphasizing on the need to tackle it as a team.
The solutions on pollution are always a big problem. This is why prevention interventions are always a better way of controlling air pollution. These prevention methods can either come from government in terms of law regulations, private organizations, or by individual actions. Thus, air pollution can be prevented only if individuals and businesses stop using toxic substances that cause air pollution. This will require the cessation of all fossil fuel burning processes, from industrial manufacturing to home use of air conditioners. This is an unlikely scenario at this time. However, we have to make rules which set stringent regulations on industrial and power supply manufacturing and handling. These regulations are to be designed to further reduce harmful emissions into the Earth's atmosphere.
The rainy season is here again, and while that rings bells of joy for farmers in rural areas, residents of urban centers are battling with flooding, among other challenges. This next report has been finding out how residents on Lagos Island are holding up. I checked the weather forecast, and guess what? It's projected to rain not just all week, but for the next 3 months into the month of September. Now, that's not a problem because we know it's the raining season. But the issue here is that for communities like this one in Victoria Island, where there are no drainages, the residents and people commuting through this road tend to suffer. I mean, take a look at this. There are no drainages on either side of the road, and we can see the difficulties that commuters have to face.
The water is something was don't have choice. We need quota. So when the quota is there, everything will move normal. If you get no rain, we are making money. Because the dry season, people must come and eat and sit down and play. But if there's rain, nobody can come out. Until rain finish. That is it.
It's not just street food vendors that are affected by the flood. Tricycle riders like John says it's taken a toll on his vehicle and pockets.
The rain is affecting customers because some customers will not come out to go market, and it's affecting our business. When we are driving the keke, the marwa is off. When we enter the water, so the marwa will off. So before we start, and some marwas you don't want to come down from the keke because of you don't want to put their leg in the water. That's why.
The rains might be bad for some, But when it comes to demand and supply, the rain means business for others.
I used to make more money now that rain used to fall. Now where rain they fall, they used to buy it more. Where rain they fall, I used to sell it 400 naira. But now that rain used to fall, I used to sell it 500.
Perhaps the worst affected are commuters who are facing challenges going to and from work. Floods kill millions of people every year in Nigeria, displace many more, destroy properties worth millions of dollars, and affects the cost of food. What then is the solution? The government could better plan cities, install and revamp drainages, build dikes, canals, and effectively manage waste. Whichever option the government chooses to apply, Nigerians are counting on them to do it fast. Annetta Felix, TV360, Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration is committed to making life more comfortable for Nigerians and addressing the security situation in the country. The president gave the assurance while hosting delegates from socio-cultural group Yoruba People of Nigeria, Afenifere. The group, comprising stakeholders from states in southwest Nigeria, urged the president to approve the establishment of state and community police to address the growing rate of banditry and kidnappings across the country. They also tasked the president to focus on power generation, improve education, and eradicating corruption as he continues his second term in office.
We seriously recommend clinging to the spirit and letters of our federal constitution. This is one sure way of achieving the desired goal of unity, even in diversity, mutual respect, tolerance, and giving true meaning to the opening phrase in our constitution, that is, we the people. We will be a great nation if we sincerely practice true federalism and think and act as Nigerians rather than as champions of the smaller units we were born into.
Immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari, has denied leaving any debts or liability for the new administration of Bello Matawalle. Yari made this known at a news conference organized at the All Progressives Congress State Secretariat in Gusau on Wednesday. The statement is in reaction to reports by the State's Transition Committee, which alleged that Yari's administration left a debt of over 251 billion naira. Reacting to the report, the former governor, speaking through his spokesperson, said the committee failed to inform the world that he left 7 billion naira in the state coffers at the end of his tenure. Yari also criticized the committee for failing to reveal that he also constructed hundreds of kilometers of roads cutting across all 14 local government areas of Zamfara State. Just last year, the Nigerian government placed a ban on the sale of codeine owing to its abuse by mostly youths in Nigeria. Experts are now seizing the occasion of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking to discuss more ways to safeguard young people from substance abuse and addiction. At an event organized by Start Now Africa in collaboration with the American Corner, organizers charged youths to mind their association, among other things, in order to be drug-free.
I lost a friend to codeine, the sale of codeine, and which was the reason why I started this movement. So when I graduated, I started going to secondary schools with my team to sensitize secondary school students about drug abuse. We started this year, January, and we have gone to like 35 schools in Lagos and Ogun State. The way out of drug abuse is to seek for help. There are some centers that rehabilitate people, and the other way out of drug abuse is to stay away from friends that can influence someone's behavior.
The most important thing is to prevent it from occurring at all.
To survive the society.
Because anything you go into
a mind that is filled with positive people
and you
graduate, we rarely have room to accommodate alcoholism, smoking,
you pass through different stages until you get to the last stage
your mind being
It
filled
will
with
become a
pictures.
problem in getting
have a
out
picture
because
about,
you'll have get
you know.
it's,
So you
it's
really
like
don't need to go waste
everything
your
about you
time,
has
sit
changed.
down, drinking
You
all
have
day,
moved from a
or all
natural
night.
stage
Why? Because
to an
mentally you have a picture
artificial
of where you're
stage.
going.
Somebody can indulge in drug abuse without knowing. Yeah, because one, he doesn't know what drug abuse is. And because he has less information, he might not know that the activity he's carrying out is actually drug abuse. Like, okay, somebody will tell you that I went to a chemist and they gave me a drug for my cough. And when next he had a cough again, he'll be taking it. And he felt good, and afterwards he continues taking it. Really, the person didn't know that he is actually abusing drugs. But what he's doing is actually an abuse. Because he's taking the drug without prescription, and he's taking the drug for the purpose that the drug is not intended for.
We'll take a break here and we'll talk business when we return.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so... Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no. You don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came out with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
You're welcome back, and joining us to talk business is Fidelia Agunta. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Aneta.
So we see the government making moves to ensure food security in Nigeria, but exactly how so? Please let us know.
Well, the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria has promised more assistance to farmers to increase their yield and tackle malnutrition. The Apex Bank made a pledge on the sideline of the State Partnership for Agriculture Summit held in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory.
Key lesson from the work of synagogues in Nigeria over the last 4 years is the creation of alignment, policy alignment on agriculture between the state government and the federal government. This is a very critical piece of work. This for me is the biggest lesson, and the 3 states in which they've worked, Kaduna, Kogi and Benue, today demonstrate viable policy alignment and that is coherent with the policy drive of the federal government trying to diversify the economy through agriculture.
The problem is that people expect return on investment too fast. They're expecting return on investment in the first year or the second year, and any problem they have, they say, this farming thing might not be working. It's not true. You have to stay there. You have to recognize that farming is a way of life. You have to understand that you have to find solutions to problems. Your problems are where your opportunities are.
Agriculture is the fastest vehicle through which people can rebuild their lives, and through that program they are giving them support in 2 ways. One is to develop the poultry value chain, especially to women who keep backyard poultry, providing them with new genetic breeds and access to feed and fodder and other extension support services to build income and stabilize their livelihoods.
The sector is very volatile. There are times when you have very good yield and so much income coming in, and there are times when you have bad yield, not so good, and then the income drops. Now, how do you bridge between these 2 situations? It's through savings, through planning, and so on.
My concern has been the data we have been having concerning malnourishment in the states.
especially in about 6 local government in the state. And you know, as a woman, when there's food shortage or crisis, the people that are really suffering is the women and the children and the vulnerable groups. So synagogues has really built our capacity, especially in nutrition-sensitive agriculture.
This partnership, we have plans to sustain what has been developed, what has been planned in the state by bringing in what we call the Agri Investment Plan, having forums of meetings with all these stakeholders.
E-commerce company Jumia says it has partnered with healthy food space So Fresh Nigeria. Managing Director of Jumia Food, Guy Futi, says the partnership will not just enhance the ease of doing business for both parties, but will go a step further to promote a healthy lifestyle among Nigerians. Additional Jushoga now reports.
After it launched its online marketplace for restaurants and food outlets in Nigeria, Jumia Food is now expanding its partnership with many notable brands. One of them is Nigeria's first healthy food space, So Fresh Nigeria.
Not just adding new partners like So Fresh, but also getting better at operations, getting more efficient at marketing, utilizing more of our CS efficiencies. You know, we're just putting all our efforts into growing the business and becoming the largest on-demand platform in Nigeria.
The brand, which was founded by a biochemist 9 years ago, is seeking to expand its reach across the 36 states with this new partnership.
It was just a natural partnership. Jumia Foods being the leading, even though the only, reliable delivery platform, and as So Fresh, the #1 healthy food chain in Nigeria. We pioneered the healthy food industry in Nigeria. So Fresh has provided different kinds of healthy meals, but then how do people access it from the convenience of their homes, from the convenience of their office? And this is where, Jumia has come in at the right time.
It's about growth. So the more Jumia Foods being the engine to convey all this rich, variety of our meals to our consumers, the higher the chances of our growth for both brands.
Jumia Food also announced a cheaper menu option on its website, which it tagged Big Chop Small Money to attract low-income earners.
Big Chop Small Money means that we have chosen restaurants that can give you big portions of food. You can get a main dish, you can get a side, you can get a drink, and you can get it for a reasonable price, usually about 1,000 naira or less. So we have selected these restaurants for you, put it into this category at the top of the search results, so that once you come, you don't have to search too hard. You can already see the restaurants that will give you the best value for your money.
Following the launch of this new category, the company says it has experienced a change in its order rates within the second quarter of 2018.
Ended a month of February, to be specific, 27,000 orders. And just last month, we closed out at 37,000 orders. So that speaks to us growing and expanding. So we're not just in Lagos, we're in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and we started off in Ibadan about 2 months ago. So definitely, growth is on our menu. And part of what we've done to achieve this has been improving our delivery times. We started at the beginning of the year, averaging between 50 to 55 minutes delivery time. And now we're at 43 minutes. Of course, that's not the goal. The ideal goal is to hit 35 minutes, but we're definitely working towards that.
And with partnerships like this, Jumia Food, an auxiliary of Jumia Nigeria, has been promoting food vendors and creating employment opportunities in the country. Adeshawa Dushoga, TV360, Lagos, Nigeria.
Well, up next is a review of the stock markets after this. But with the bulls again failing to make a comeback, this red arrow is fast becoming a constant at the Nigeria Stock Exchange. Sell pressure on 19 equities pushed key market indices lower by 0.20%, bringing the NSCDC year-to-date loss to 5.81%. The impact of this loss on the all-share index is a drop of 59 basis points. The market capitalization, on the other hand, lost about 27 billion naira to close at 13.04 trillion naira. Well, let's now look at the top 4 equities driving this trend. Top on the list is Nestle PLC, dropping by over 49 naira, which is exactly the same amount it gained on Monday when it topped the gainers chart. It is closely followed by Better Glass PLC, which is dropping by 9.97%. It was also a bad day for Cement Company of Northern Nigeria, that's CCNN, and Cadbury PLC also had a bad day. Well, conversely, that's the gainers chart. What was bottom on Tuesday is top today, and that's Seplat right here, leading the pack of gainers, appreciating by about 5 naira. It is closely followed by Nigeria Breweries right here, and Forte Oil is also on the list. Forte Oil was also topping the pack of losers on Tuesday, but it is making a comeback on the gainers chart. Julius Berger is fourth on this list, appreciating by about 3 or 4 kobo. Well, let's now look at the market summary. We can see that 3,377 deals exchanged hands in the market, and in summary, over 394 million shares worth 3.2 billion naira were transacted on the floor of the market on Wednesday. On the foreign scene, the Dow is the only stock market right here posting gains, which is a 0.26%. Nikkei and FTSE, however, are having the same fate like the NSC, and that's a downtrend of 0.081% and 0.51% respectively, as we can see right here. Well, that's it from the world of business. It's back to Annetta Felix.
Unimpressive figures there in Nigeria and globally. An equally sad day in Egypt, where at least 7 policemen, including 1 officer, have been killed in terrorist attacks at different checkpoints in the North Sinai city of Arish. The country's interior ministry, who confirmed the incident, said it was carried out by terrorists who set off explosives at 3 checkpoints. He also adds that 4 terrorists, including the suicide bomber, were also killed in the attacks. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the incident. Nigeria's Super Eagles have defeated Guinea to become the first team to reach the last 16 at the 2019 African Cup of Nations. The Super Eagles qualified for the next stage after a Kenneth Omero strike gave them a 1-0 victory over Guinea, taking their points tally to 6 in Group B. Guinea's loss leaves them with points from 2 games, while Madagascar, who take on Burundi in the second group game, has a point. Here's how Nigerians have been reacting to this victory, and they've been expressing the expectations in subsequent matches in the tournament.
What I can say for today's matches, I can see a lot of expectation in those guys. I can see a lot of performance in them. But I hope they should put more efforts for us to qualify ahead. But if I want to say, I may talk about Igalo. What Igalo gave us today, I'm not impressed with it. I need a better force. Don't try to look down on your ball. Pick out your face up, then you give your player. It's a one-touch game.
For my own understanding and the way they are playing the game, if they keep on playing like this and more skill, they can move forwards and get the cup to Nigeria.
A fantastic wrap to the news, if you ask me. Many thanks for watching. I am Annetta Felix.